Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Monday, December 30th, as we head towards the end of the year. Man, we've got a lot of things to talk about today. What a great day for Disclosure. What a great day for our audience and our panelists to come together for yet another Disclosure episode of Disclosure Tonight. How the heck you doing, everybody? Hopefully you're doing better than me. Yeah, my neck has been acting up, so I am out of it. Anytime the implants start to go ahead and throw things down in my arm and screw with my left leg and come up the trigeminal nerve on the side of your face, yeah, let's have some fun. Although I will admit I am a bit out of it more than usual today. So on that note, let's go ahead and have some fun, everybody. Let's take a look and see who the hell we have out there in the audience. Where are those pesky drums? Oh, there they are. Let's go ahead and welcome everybody in. Welcome. Got a big audience building. Let's go ahead and see who the heck we have out there and how quickly I can get through this list. Let's welcome Abby Araxa, Alex Lewis, Alexander's here along with Amiga Rules. We've got Anton Ghost, Azriel, Bear Holiday, Blitz Necros here along with Bradley and Brian Pemble. Good to see you, Brian. We've got Bully Cruise News, C. Miltmore, Carl Blissett, Cindy Feelhaller, and moving on. We've got Country Carpenter, Craig Smith, along with Cypher 75. We got Da Vinci. I'll just call you Da Vinci. Close enough. I think that's what it means. Let's welcome in Eddie, Eli McGinnis, Fat Albert's here as well, at least in the chat. Mr. Greyhawk is here along with Feigen Shao 87. Long time no see, my friend. Turn that frown upside down and make it a smile. We've got Fireflies here along with Frank Catho. We got Freezerman 71. Giant Arc Sephora is here along with Ginger. Golden's Journey is around along with Invisible Tracker. Jack Gingers is here. A bunch of Gingers today, my friends. We've got J-Cat, Jan, Jeff Carrero, Joey MF, Joker Mojo, Jomari Bird, there you go, along with Johnny UFO, just saying hi's here, along with Kathy Kodoku, Kelly Broughton with piercing blue eyes. Well, look at that. We've got Laura Campbell out there along with Leroy. Lord McCormick's here, Louis V, Margaret Leach. We've got Marty Kinn, Marvin the Martian, Mississippi Martian. How about that? We got Mr. Joey B. Mariam's here along with Nancy Kuzmano. Good to see you, Nancy. We got some necessary dialogue. Move on along with Niambi. Nicholas Uric is here along with Nikki Lilly. Would you look at that? We've got Niles Guide Nowhere Fast. No NVMe Forever First. And yes, where's it at? One of the first commercial NVMe drives ever made. Yeah, it's a little 256 gigger back in the days, but yeah, some history. Let's move in here. That was a Samsung XP 941. Let's welcome in Omega on the rise. We got Paladin, Paul Damon, Paul Johnson, Raul's around along with Rainstorm Hunter. Rebecca Curry's here along with Renan. We got Ricardo. Good to see Ricardo. And Rick Doty. I think he just threw a super chat our way. Holy cow. Let's see who else is there. We've got Rough Ready Sam, Sander Jute, Sharon Rose, Sean Ryder, Shelly Montgomery. Good to see you, Shelly. As always, Sherry's here along with Six Figure Toys. Ooh, sounds like a good job I could use. Snarf McGrew is here along with Stefan Forbes, Steve Leap, and Stu. Good to see you, Stu. I don't recognize you, but you must have changed your name. Let's welcome Tamisha Bertrand. Tasha's here along with the Chromosome Cowboy. We got Tim Tracy, Tanovix, Toxic Revenger, Truth Seeker, Two Heads 666, Vern Doot, Wesley Sissons, and Nebula Dust 1018. How about that? A full house, my friends. I am so amazed at everyone who's coming out for tonight's show. Thank you for coming, my friends. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, do us a favor. Give us a subscribe. More importantly, if you haven't given us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, give us a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Absolutely. On that note, let me go ahead at this time and welcome in our friends in the back. Who do we have with us today? It looks like a full house. First of all, I want to welcome in, coming back in again, Alice W. How's it going, Alice?
Hey, Thomas. Great night. Can't wait to see what we talk about tonight.
Oh, so am I. Hopefully you've got a full list of things for us to cover, Alice.
Yes, I do.
Absolutely. Let's also welcome Corporal Abe, all coming from the city that never sleeps. That would be Bangkok, Thailand. How's it going, Abe?
Hey, happy almost New Year's Eve, guys. It's New Year's Eve here in Southeast Asia, and I'm already partying, so love you guys.
Yeah.
Ready
Wishing you a
show.
happy holidays, my friend. Yeah, I love that show. Got to keep on playing it. I watched half of it the other night, and I'll have to finish watching the rest of it tonight. On that note, who else we have in the back? Let's welcome in our dear friend coming from the Southwest. Let's welcome in Mr. Ed Brown. How's it going, Ed?
Good to be with you there, Thomas. And I'm just sitting in my New Year's Eve relaxing chair, and I'm going to stay here for 24 straight hours.
I love that idea, my friend. Not in that one, but in mine. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. All right, in the back also, let's welcome in our next friend, Mr. Michael Sokoloff. How's it going, Michael?
It's going good, Thomas. Going good.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in.
Truck fixed today. I have a bottle of Grand Marnier that I've saved for the past year. Getting ready to open that.
Yeah, that goes really good on top of margaritas, if I remember properly.
Margaritas?
Yeah, Grand Marnier. You take and put Grand Marnier on top of it.
It's in a glass with a couple ice cubes. That's all you need.
Oh, wow.
When
Absolutely.
you sip it. You don't down it.
Oh, of course not. It's one of those things you want to sip. Absolutely. Thank you for that wonderful culinary idea, my friend. Let's go ahead and turn the world upside down and shake it like a snow globe. And who pops out? None other. I could say it's none of your business. It's actually Susan Ford. How's it going, Susan? How are things in Australia?
Yeah, deliriously well. Beautiful day, nice and warm. Yeah, looking forward to party mode in a few more hours.
Yeah. And party mode sounds like a good idea, Nanya. I agree with you 100%.
I think 2025 is going to be an exceptionally good year.
Well, 2024 was kind of a frickin'. Oh, where is
a no burger.
It was a no burger.
Nothing
It
burger.
was. Oh, there we go. Let's start this one again.
I knew something like that would be coming.
Yeah, watch. But here's the thing. Even though it flushed, the last little turd of disclosure that didn't happen popped back up to smile at you again. Don't you just love when that happens?
Well, that's it. Even though we didn't get what we wanted in 2024, we did get a lot.
Yeah.
We did get a lot.
Yeah.
So we've got to be grateful for what we got. But, 2025, I think, is going to be a really great year. Grab your popcorn, buckle up, fasten yourself in, because we're on for a hell of a ride.
Yeah, you are. And we're going to have a good one. But before we get too far into it,
Holy cow!
let's welcome in our dear friend, Rick Doty. How's it going, Rick? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Thomas. Great to be here tonight, the day before New Year's Eve. I think we'll have a great show tonight. I'm just fascinated by what you've been doing for the last several weeks and producing these great shows.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
not always able to get on, but I do watch them later.
Yeah.
Almost all of them I watch later. But it's great to be here. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot to say. I'll comment on anything that you want to bring up, but I'm just...
Hold on. What the hell? Oh, sorry about that. My computer started talking. Go ahead.
I'm glad to be here and looking forward to a great night tonight.
Thank you. And also want to thank you very much for that wonderful super chat, Rick. Holy cow, $50 goes a long way these days. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. You deserve it. Definitely deserve it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Everything goes back into our production fund, and I am so humbled and thankful for everyone, what everybody does on this show, for us on the show. All right. We also did get one more super chat coming in from JCat. Appreciate you, Thomas, Mike D, Rick Doty, for all you're doing. Love to all and a happy new year. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, JCat. How considerate of you. Now, if I go ahead and welcome in our dear friend, Mike, Disclosure. How's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going well, Thomas. And I agree with Rick. We're going to have an interesting conversation tonight. There'll be a lot to talk about the day before New Year's Eve, the end of 2024. Tomorrow we'll wrap up the year as it was. And tonight we'll have enough to talk about before that. So I'm looking forward to it. The conversation is going to be fun, and I think the audience will like it. So
I think so. You know, I was going to kind of do tonight's show as a roundup, a recap, a review of all the different things that happened in 2024. I think we're going to save that for tomorrow night. Got a bunch of interesting stats. We'll have a fun time with the audience, trying to guess, see what they can figure out, what was where, and all the different headlines that we've used on Disclosure tonight over the last year. Yeah, it's an interesting time out there in the East Coast, Mike. As you may be aware, that the drone situation, while the reports have completely fallen off the side of a bus, the conversation and the sightings continue. So I've got, let me go ahead and double check this without me having to go to Twitter to get it real quick. Why, I look like hell today. Why am I so freaking red? Probably because I'm hot. All right. So coming to us, I've got a fresh video, came in about an hour ago. Just shot over their head in Riverdale, New Jersey, saying they are back. Something is seriously wrong on this, potentially. If I go ahead and then let's get the video up here for everyone to go ahead and check out, and let's go take a look at it and see if this is something or not. Because remember, a lot of these different things that we're seeing in the sky can be mistaken for those drones that we saw back in the mid part of November to the start of December, and actually throughout December. So let's bring this up here. Hopefully it's going to work. Fingers crossed. Let's go to document solo. Here we go. Let's get this video up here. Let's make it so everybody in the world can see except me, because I got light in my eyes. And why is everything so bright and foggy? Oh, it's not because it's foggy outside, because it's foggy in here. Let's move on to this. Here we go. Let's take a look at this video. So what we're looking at here, let's zoom in really quick. All right. From the front, this has the look and feel of those drones that we've been seeing, where you have the red light on the one side, green light on the other side. When the craft go to flash bright white, the red and the green go away completely, and they're replaced by white. So far, what we're seeing here looks very similar to what we had been seeing over all the different time in New Jersey. Go ahead and keep on moving this and play it around so we can go ahead. If I zoom it out too much, that's just going to be a little dot. Let me try this here. All right. First thing I want to call out on this, Mike, is we've got a tail light on this one.
Right.
We've got a wing. We've got something on the front. We've got the other wing, but then we've got a light on the tail. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't believe there were tail lights on the drones we were seeing initially, starting in the middle of November, coming up through December, correct?
Correct. There was a red light, a green light, and a white light on the bottom, but no tail light on any of those drones.
And we can say if this is the definite front of the plane, we're going to go ahead and say left, right, and that would be the tail.
Right.
So while there are still sightings going on, it looks like the potential sightings that we've actually got going on, Mike, are actually dropping.
They are. That's what it seems like.
Right.
Things are calming down.
Right. So going ahead and taking a look at the videos, hopefully this our audience finds this interesting. We like to go ahead and keep our eyes out there. More importantly, like to keep our eyes on what's going out in the sky. And Laura Campbell, $10. Thank you very much. Feel better, Thomas. Yeah, I hope so. Last evening, and throughout the night. was hell, apparently, because I looked up looking half freaking warmed over on that matter. So thank you very much, Laura. Appreciate that super chat. Let's get back on playing on the rest of this video. And the noise, you hear that? The noise, let me pull it up, has the sound of a traditional jetliner. So there we go. What do you call it? The drones are still being seen, but at least in this case where someone thinks they're flying up over again, I think it would have been helpful for this individual to go out there and check Flight Radar 24. It's one of the platforms you can go ahead and check where there are local jets and any kind of aircraft in the air that actually would have transponders. I don't remember, some military craft don't fly with transponders, but on this one, let's write it off. It's not a duck. This one sounds like a plane. If that's the case, this isn't one of those drones. So how about that? Talking about drones, but more importantly about orbs, and one of our top stories we got for tonight. Let me go ahead and jump across to this as I'm cruising through. Does anyone have their hands up? Nope. Let's go ahead and get up our next story here. Here we go. Bring myself up here and let's get this video situated. Yes, there is an astronaut, a former astronaut, who's reporting earlier this year, more likely this summer, flying from Colorado to Texas. He ran in two of those, what do you call it? Silver orbs that were flying in the air. Remember when we had SOG pilot on about a year ago, Mike?
I do. He used to come on pretty regularly.
Right. And if you're out there in the show, my friend, please stop in. Yeah, you're someone who I think he was flying from Washington State down south up to another part up near like Friday Harbor or something to that extent. When he was making the flight, he actually saw one of those silver orbs like we're going to hear about today. So yeah, these are definitely something that's more and more common. Remember, we just saw a video of these the other day. Not sure how real that one was, but when you're talking pilots and they're involving something up in the sky, they've got a pretty good view of what we're looking at. So let's go ahead. Only at nighttime is an American drones now generation. Yeah, it's our stuff. At least that's what we think. On that note, let's go ahead and get to this video. Here we go, folks. Let's play it.
On the East Coast this morning, the drone sightings that had parts of New York and New Jersey looking up to the skies in recent...
That's it. You see that, Mike, how there's no tail light on this?
Of New York.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. You've got a green light, a red light. Those will go back both and flash white at the same time, turning off the red and green light, and you've got the two lights in the front. And this does not, if you want to call it, align with requirements from the FAA. So let me continue with this.
In New Jersey, looking up to the skies in recent weeks for like more than a month. They've stopped since the FAA implemented its temporary ban. The Pentagon says, simply put, the drones do not pose a threat. A former astronaut who spent 15 years with NASA says he came into contact, not with a drone, but another unidentified object last summer. And joining me now is that former astronaut, Leroy Chow. Leroy, thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but you were piloting your plane from Colorado back home to Texas when this happened to you. Has this kept you up at night, like not knowing what you saw or what that was?
Well, it is pretty strange. It hasn't kept me up per se, but I did come into contact with, or almost came into contact with, these two spherical metallic, basically chrome orbs about 3 feet in diameter, one on top of the other. And they passed within 20 feet of my airplane on the left side, going the opposite direction just below. And I got a good look at them, and I didn't know what they were at the time, and I kind of continued to believe they were probably part of some kind of a secret program, a government program for advanced drones, but I have no way of knowing. My biggest concern, and I didn't even have time to get scared because they just whizzed by me so quickly, there wasn't even time for that. So it remains a mystery. I don't know. I have no way of knowing what happened.
Yeah. So you say 20 feet away. That was real close to not being good. for you and your airplane.
Right, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was on an instrument flight plan, which means I was under positive control by air traffic control, and they will alert you if there's other air traffic near you. I had, my airplane is equipped, as all airplanes are required to be equipped, with the FAA-approved devices that allow you to basically see all the traffic in your area on a display like an iPad, and nothing showed up there, and so it was a big mystery.
Yeah, I have my private pilot's license. I'm just VFR. I don't have IFR yet, but I was thinking to myself when I was reading your story, did Tower not tell you, that this was coming? Nothing showed up on your instruments? I mean, that's wild. Right. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, never. This is the first and only time I've ever seen it. It was a little bit earlier this year in August, so nothing before or since.
And your resume, I mean, you have such a lengthy and impressive resume. 3 space shuttle flights. You were the commander on the Expedition 10. You have no reason to make this up. Have you gotten any pushback, after coming public with your story?
No, actually, I kind of kept it to myself. I told a few people about it at the time, but really hadn't talked about it till I was asked on an interview on, if I had seen anything strange before. And I just, like I said, at the time, I assumed it was a secret government program. And so, I hadn't talked about it till being asked. But no, I haven't really gotten any pushback.
Yeah, good. So what's your take on what we've seen the past, month and change over the Northeast and these drones over Jersey? You think the government knows more than they're telling us?
Well, it's mysterious. I would hope that our government would be able to track and detect things like this, because obviously an enemy could use this kind of thing if we couldn't, to cause some kind of issues for us. So I guess I have a hard time believing the government is telling us everything they know about what these things are. Interesting, as you reported, that since the FAA temporary flight restrictions went up, that the activity has dropped off dramatically. That's interesting. That suggests it is, civilian operators of commercial drones. But some of these things, I guess, are pretty huge. So it's hard to believe somebody has the resources to, buy a fleet of these things and operate them the way that has been reported.
Yeah, and locals and, Americans just want answers, more transparency here. Leroy Chow, thank you for sharing your story. I'm glad you lived to tell the tale of those silver orbs in the sky this summer. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red.
Let's go ahead and pause this. Let me go ahead and bring back into the studio. Just going ahead and sharing some insight on astronauts and their. Let me get it here. And their involvement with UAP. One of the most famous people that we've heard of in the past, Mike, has been Gordon Cooper, one of NASA's original Mercury 7 astronauts. He had a long hinted at an interest in UFOs. He famously recounted personal experiences and observations of unexplained aerial phenomena throughout his career, stories that garnered attention due to his high-profile status and reputation as a respected test pilot and astronaut. Now, if we remember, in support of Grenada's initiative to bring forward UFO disclosure back in 1978, Cooper wrote a letter addressed to the United Nations. 1, he affirmed the reality of the UFO phenomena, noting that there were credible sightings worldwide that warranted serious study. 2, he advocated for the establishment of an international body to collect and analyze UFO reports. And thirdly, he underscored the open scientific investigation could help move the subject beyond the realm of speculation and secrecy. Again, this is back in 1978. Now, while Cooper himself did not personally appear before the General Assembly to give a speech on the subject, he was not a sitting representative, and it's limited to those people to actually talk. His letter and public endorsement gave Grenada's proposal significant credibility. Cooper's willingness to publicly support an international UFO investigation proved influential at the time, as he was among of the few high-profile figures with direct aerospace experience acknowledging the need for inquiry. Now, unfortunately, that effort was quashed by the United Kingdom when it came up from vote, and they've never been able to bring up that particular, if you want to call it, UN resolutions for passing at the time. So it's a shame to see that the the UN to try and get it out there was watered down, as a general of the assembly adopted a decision not to bring the binding resolution, inviting interested member states and relevant agencies to share information and continue research on UFOs. The stronger language that Gary had proposed was not adopted in full. So it's a shame to see this kind of stuff go on now. Rick, I know you're probably familiar with this Grenada case.
Yeah, I am somewhat familiar with it, yes.
And they've never been able to bring it up for vote ever since again in 1978, have they?
No, they sure haven't. Let me just jump in here real quick, and we're talking about drones. I have a drone, a pretty advanced one.
Yeah.
I fly it at night. So if you're going to fly a drone between sunset and sunrise, you have to have a lighting system on it. Mine is the wing lights are red, the center lights are green, and I have 2 strobes on the back, and they're required by FAA regulations if you're going to fly them at night. And the strobes have to be seen for at least 3 miles, so they have to be bright. And the one I fly, has a maximum altitude and so forth. And some of these videos that I've seen, you can clearly see that some of these things are drones, but you can also see that some of them are not. They don't have the proper FAA lighting system, which is required on drones. And I don't know how they can get away with that, especially when they're flying them at night. So that's a big question on my part, unless they're military. And
Bingo.
Another thing that...
Unless they're from the federal government and the FAA's restrictions are waived in this particular case. Good point.
Oh, exactly. And when they're flying over test areas, which I don't think New Jersey is, but they don't even have to have lights on. But anyways, and then another thing that there are people that are on the ground scanning a frequency of these drones, and everyone can go on the FCC website and determine what frequencies are assigned to which if it's a private drone or if it's a government drone, what frequencies they're on. And some of the people that are reporting these people that are on the ground reporting find that some of these frequencies that are using these larger drones are dual frequency, which you're not supposed to use. So they must be either government or drones from someplace else.
Yeah. I got you. I got it, Rick. And I've got another video of people are posting up with all the tremendous fog. Just so everybody knows, this isn't like killer fog caused by the government doing cloud seeding or chemtrails or anything. We've had a bunch of unseasonably warm weather coming out, especially where now the actual ground temperature and air temperature is much higher than the water. In these particular cases, when you have the imbalance between the ground temperature and the water temperature in the air, you're going to get mass amount of fogs, sometimes relatively thick, coming out. So I just want to point out that's not what we're looking at. Now, to get back to, as you're talking about drones for a second here, Rick, let me go ahead and bring this one up here. This is another one that I've got, UFO dry, and from Bergen County, New Jersey, again, from another person saying, I think that could be the same drone that they're calling out. It's big, and it's flying low. But again, we've got the lights in the back flashing. That really doesn't sound like a lot of these drones that have been flying. I think we just have another case of mistaken identity on this. Rick, what do you think? There's a lot of that going around.
Yeah, I think the majority of what people are photographing are either private drones or military drones. And what confuses me and what really is a mystery right now are the orbs, the balls of plasma that people are photographing. I don't think anybody can explain what they are. I mean, I listened to a major general, a 2-star general at the news conference, Major General Ryder, who's a Pentagon spokesman. And when he was asked that question, he said, "We haven't determined what they are yet." So here's the Pentagon, who has satellites in the air that can track anything that's flying up to 500 feet off the ground, and they can't tell what these things are. That kind of that's a little scary to me, that these things are flying around, and not just New Jersey. They're being seen all over the world.
Yeah.
They just had a rash of them in Japan a few days ago, and also in Norway and Germany. Well, what are these things? What are these drones? I'd love to hear somebody explain to me what these orbs are.
Let me throw out my potential hypothesis this time. The drones that we're seeing coming over residential areas, moving back and forth in a search grid pattern that we were seeing over the eastern seaboard starting in mid-November all the way through mid-December and beyond. Those potentially look like our own tech, meaning human tech, nothing that's advanced, nothing that's out of the norm. But the stuff that we've been seeing coming and flying over like Langley Air Force Base, Wright-Patterson Field, flying over, if you want to call it, the other bases that you just mentioned that are around the world, we've been seeing them in Lakenheath in the United Kingdom. Those have more of a advanced profile, where they're just coming in specifically to military bases. They're doing their observations, whatever's going on. Our military has tried to deploy their anti-drone technologies, completely useless. So far, we've heard that potentially these things are stealth-like and don't show up on radar, potentially because they're flying so low. But it's almost like we've got two different things going on, one over the homeland and the other over the military bases. Now, the ones that are over the military bases, I have a feeling they're more potentially NHI based, and the ones over nuclear power plants, probably NHI based. But there's always that slim chance that these are not non-human intelligence. I'm going to throw out the whole piece saying it's a psyop coming from our government. So it's either a non-human intelligence or it's a state actor who's basically collecting intelligence on these particular sites. Rick, what is your thought?
Yeah, good analogy. I agree with most of that. It's the balls of light, the orbs.
Orbs, yeah.
Really confuses me. I mean, there was a UN or a paper in the United Kingdom that photographed some of these over the southern part of Lakenheath, nobody, the UK, the MOD, the Ministry of Defense in the UK, have not identified what these things could be.
Yeah.
The drones, yes, I can understand that. I agree with you that there are some of these drones that defy our aeronautics. I watched some of them that are, I don't think we have the technology to do what some of these drones did. And now you jump to the orbs, the round balls of plasma or wherever they are. I don't know that we have the technology to do something like that. And that's what should be confusing and worrisome to us.
Yeah, exactly. We've heard a lot of stories about potentially reverse engineering craft, but there's also a lot of stories saying the technology is beyond our reach and we're unable to make any advancements on it. Maybe little ones here and there from little bits of pieces we've been able to figure out, but the major push to move this forward has been kind of blocked. It'd be interesting to see where all of this goes in time, but it's something we're going to keep on watching on. Alice W., you have your hand up, my dear lady.
Yes, I've seen some videos where the people taking them seem to be thinking that the orbs are actually morphing into drones, like they're able to take the shape on. Have you any comment about that kind of?
Yeah, a lot of times when you're trying to focus on something in the sky and you're out of focus because you're trying to go ahead and get it, your phone camera is struggling to get it in focus, it's going to look like a big light. When it starts getting closer or your camera has ability to go ahead and refocus on it, you're going to see something that's going to look like an orb that's then going to transition to seeing more lights and says, oh my gosh, look, it went from an orb to looking like a plane. Does that make sense, Alice?
It does. Are we definitely having orbs then, or is this all just...
No, there have been some orbs that have been seen, but a lot of the behaviors that we've been at least seeing on the East Coast with regards to over the homeland, I'd say 99% of everything that I've seen is not an orb. There's only been one video, I think that was up over Connecticut, that was seen by a couple different people that was reported on, and that was the only genuine orb sighting that I had seen so far coming from middle of December.
Yeah, I don't know if it's me, but it seems like the news on the drones has died down quite a bit.
Yes. As I said in the news piece that we've been saying saying here as well, the overall media beat on this has dropped down because since they've put up these no-fly zones, the number of sightings, people are going out less, probably looking up less. We've gotten, if you want to call it, we're well beyond drone saturation at this point. So a lot of people who would normally always be going out looking, they're like, oh, it's just something else. And that high level of interest that was perking for a while has been kind of shut down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Brown, you have your hand up, my friend?
Well, I certainly do, Thomas. I was thinking, I've thrown out this idea that maybe it's NHI for several nights in a row, and you keep shooting me down saying, no, it's not NHI because they're not exhibiting the 5 characteristics. But how about this for a theory? This is theory number 631.
Take it.
Could it be that there are orbs that are controlling the drones? You know, we talked about how you have to be within line of sight many times to control these. What if it is an NHI orb controlling a drone? It's just a theory. I just want to throw that out for your thoughts.
You know, throw it in the fishbowl. We'll go ahead and pick the answers later and see if it pops up. Anything's a possibility, Ed. When we don't know anything and our government is clearly covering it up and they're unwilling to go ahead and give us the truth, all we can do is speculate at this point and come up with a bunch of different potential theories of what it could be.
Well, that would answer 2 questions. That would answer the one as to why is it that we see these drones operating with no apparent line of sight distance to an operator? That would answer that one question. And the second one would be why the orb is not exhibiting unusual characteristics is because it's staying in reasonable contact or close proximity to the drones.
Right. Now, here's a question. Does the Reaper drone require a line of sight to go ahead and cover that, to control that bird? Satellite.
Yeah.
So on these drones, considering they're the size of a SUV, a little bit smaller than a Reaper drone for that matter, but they're still of a decent size, those could potentially have satellite comms on them that could help them guide them over. Because remember, these things are going out flying for 5-6 hours at a time, coming way in from off in the ocean to see where we can't actually see these things taking off from.
But if that were true, and Rick talked about the frequencies earlier, wouldn't that be showing up that they would be someone in New Jersey in that area would be using a scanner and would determine, hey, there is some interactive connection between this drone and, a space satellite.
It could be that. It could be a combination of that and or AI. Just depends on the frequencies they could be using. I see Rick has his hands up to try and address that. Ed, Rick?
Yeah, going back to the frequencies real quick, I have my drone can fly. I have an advanced battery system, or a higher battery system. Normally, if I buy it, I bought this right off the shelf. It's about 40 minutes. My battery life is 40 minutes.
Right.
In normal weather. Mine, I had added. I get 116 minutes out of it, out of the bigger battery system. So when you watch these, and some people have filmed these for close to an hour, over an hour. Film that that television station in New Jersey filmed that one for close to 2.5 hours flying the same one. So that has to be a commercial or a military drone, because military drones can fly for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I mean, in fact, they can fly from Creech Air Force Base overseas and back.
Right.
So, and they're all controlled by satellite systems, satellite frequencies. Now, unless you have a satellite scanner frequency, you're not going to detect those frequencies. But in just a regular commercial drone or one you can buy off the shelf, you know what frequencies that they're flying on.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to have to send you some videos that I have that people sent me of these orbs flying.
Sure.
If you've only seen one of them, there are many out there that I've
seen a bunch of orbs over time. I've seen a bunch of orbs over time, and there was another orb that we had seen last night that looked like a more of a silver one, like the Mosul orb kind of, that was flying around in Colorado. That was just yesterday. So yeah, there have been two, the one in Colorado and then the one also in Connecticut, both starting with C's. Interesting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But
So,
I,
anyways,
but I don't
just
think
wanna
these
throw
things,
that
really
in.
quick, Rick, I don't think the things that we've been seeing over the eastern seaboard are Type 1 or Type 2 drones. You're basically the commercial off-the-shelf consumer type drones or agriculture type drones, because they don't miss the morphology. That's the shape that people are seeing from the bottom. These are something more advanced, more likely either from the United States government or from a foreign adversary, one of the two potentially, at least in my humble opinion. Now, some of them could be more, but time will tell. Do you think we'll get an answer?
Yeah,
Come
in the
on.
early,
Go ahead.
I hope we get an answer. But in the early days, in fact, go back to Kirtland Air Force Base in 1980, they were experimenting with drones. A drone program started. They started building these things experimentally at Sandia National Laboratories and at Los Alamos and other places, and they were flying them around Kirtland. Back in those days, they were launched from a mother craft. A C-130 would launch these, and so they had to stay real close because they were being controlled inside that aircraft. I think some of these drones could very well be controlled by some mothership someplace or some other plane someplace, not necessarily the ground, because you see a lot of these videos, you'll see an airplane in these videos, and people will say, well, that's an aircraft. And they'll disregard that, but then these drones are flying around over here. Maybe there is some connection that Ed's talking about between aircrafts, conventional aircrafts, or even orbs and these drones. Because
so what you're saying is kind of like we could have the drones flying around doing their thing, but there's like the equivalent of an AWACS flying around up in the air, going ahead and actually doing the control of these particular objects, not necessarily coming over satellite or acting as an intermediary to another facility where they would have multiple controllers. Because if you have 50 drones, you're not going to be able to handle those with just one or two people going ahead and controlling the objects.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Awesome. Alice, you have your hand up again.
Yeah, remember we saw the picture of the drone? I think it was a drone that exploded and it had multicolored flames coming off of it.
Yes, flames that were indicative of being a lithium ion fire, yes.
Yeah, I looked up the colors of the flames and I saw orange and green. The orange is supposed to be from sodium chloride or any kind of sodium-containing material. And the interesting one is the green flame is copper sulfate or boric acid. I don't know if anybody would know if those two materials are used in a certain type of...
But I know Abe is our expert, if you want to call it, that went and called out the colors, saying they're familiar to what would be if you had an aircraft that crashed. Correct, Abe? There you go. You're here. Abe, you with us?
Hey, I'm here. What's going on, man?
So we're talking about that video we saw a couple weeks ago
call
where there was the crash that happened. And we saw the different colors that were going on. Uh-oh. For once, the internet connect. We're only getting
magnesium fires and stuff.
Hold
like
on, Abe.
that. Yeah,
We've lost since you started talking. Hey, Abe. We've lost you since you were initially talking. You were breaking up like you're having bad data connections today.
Yeah, I might be.
It's not you. It's your data connection,
Sorry
my friend.
about that, guys. Yeah.
Want to try it again?
Yeah, I was just saying that magnesium fires are indicative of certain types of aircraft fires, and that's what we witnessed in the video.
Gotcha.
Not
Yeah.
sure it got there.
So does anybody know if there is a battery type that is made out of copper sulfate and sodium chloride? Do we have that?
We do have, the military does use silver oxide, silver zinc in special batteries for spacecrafts and other aircrafts. The drones, the Predator and some of the more advanced drones use a silver oxide battery for a particular avionics control system. But I don't know about magnesium. I haven't heard any of the batteries made of magnesium.
Yeah, or it could be magnesium.
This was copper sulfate and sodium chloride.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah, but but I believe Abe, when unfortunately his mic's not working well, he was saying that the fire that we were seeing was indicative of the different materials that make up the frame and the skin of the actual airplane, as well as potential fuel, if you want to call it, if there were batteries on board, lithium ion or sodium ion, whatever they're potentially using, because whatever this stuff is, it is pretty highly advanced. Appreciate the questions, though. Thanks, Alice.
Sure.
All right, moving on to more UFO news on this point. Yes, he's back again for more damage. Yes, we've got Dr. Stephen Greer is back in the news again, and this is going to go viral. Some people are saying on Twitter. Let's see where it goes. It needs to be seen by a billion people. This isn't just ufology and UFO nuts who need to see this. Greer is discussing information allegedly set to release between now and early January that's going to blow this whole disclosure wide open. Well.
They're going to get.
Let's see if I can bring this up, and hold your breath, but not too long, my friends. Let's see where this goes. All right, let's bring this one up. Here we go.
They're going to give me as they come forward, because they've gone to ground now. They're only communicating with me. I'm going to hand off to every celebrity and every media outlet and every influencer I know. And I need you guys to do the same thing. And it'll be open source. It'll be on a site that is blockchain protected, that's now stood up. And it's got to be seen by several billion people within a few days. So that means it's got to go wide. We're not talking about ufology and a handful of UFO nuts knowing about this. And the reason for it is that this summer he came to my place in Washington. And he says, we don't want to risk our lives and our families' lives. And the main guy has 3 children. 2 of them are still fairly young. And he doesn't want to have his whole family killed for no good reason.
Oh, boy. Greer wants to bring out some whistleblowers. Your thoughts, Mike? Do you think this could be the big one?
What, that he's going to reintroduce Michael Herrera to the audience? Sure, go ahead. And I like the fact that he labels anybody interested in ufology as a quote-unquote UFO nut. That's definitely going to bite him in the ass for saying that. You would think.
Maybe he's speaking to it. He's speaking to his people. I know. I want to cover this because this is part of quote-unquote ufology, and our audience says cover more ufology stuff. So we're getting it, folks. Good, the good with the bad.
Yeah, the UFO nuts, according to Dr. Greer. Nice. Good label.
Yeah, I know. Mike.
He knows how to put his foot in it. Does a really good job, Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. Then he has to drag it in the house and put it all over the carpet.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's play the rest of this. We're halfway through it, folks. Let's see where it goes.
In other words, where this gets released, and it's a tree that fell in the woods nobody heard. So I said, let me put together this asymmetric disclosure where, regardless of what the bureaucrats in Washington do, or London, or anywhere else, it's seen by a large number of people. It's like what I've always said, you squeeze the toothpaste so hard out of the tube, it cannot be put back in. But listen, everyone listening, if you're an influencer, if you've got a YouTube channel, a Facebook, TikTok,
play this message.
X, we're going to have it on a site where you can download it.
Don't forget all the videos Greer used to have up on YouTube that were free to watch. He actually took them all down about 4 months ago and put them behind the paywall now. So, yeah, hopefully it's free for everyone to go ahead and do it. Oh, not just buy my books, buy my videos. Let's see what he has to say.
And put it everywhere. So this has got to go viral, and it's got to go hard. Now, I don't have a date. All I'm told is between now and early January. But we're going to need your help.
Boy, that's a tough sell, my friend. Ed Brown, it's tough to follow this one, but you have your hand up, my friend.
Well, we talked about this very briefly in the back chat pre-show. That was running live at the time, so you've got a relatively quick version of that you just put up.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe she'll be going on. I don't know. But he made a point about it will end before the installation. So it'll be, he said early January, but in another part of that clip, he said prior to 20 January. And the whole idea was these whistleblowers are going to come out and they're going to make their statements. And then he's going to use all these people on his lists to help pass this information around to where everyone knows it. Everyone gets the word. It's like a worldwide announcement. It could be, you know, I'm not going to get in the middle of whether he's right or wrong or how accurate this is, but just thinking of the monumental task of getting everybody in the entire world thinking of disclosure at the same time would be quite a earth-shattering event.
Well, if you wanted to get at an event to go ahead and raise the collective consciousness on the world and reach out to a non-human intelligence in the spirit of consciousness, Ed, the first thing you wouldn't be doing is just turning out to the UFO crowd. You'd go actually after the meditation people who are practicing samadhi meditation. There's a lot of YouTubers that follow the practices of Awaken the World, where it's a huge event going on, and all the people who are really educated and have the skills to do meditation, bring them together, have them go ahead and go off at different time zones around the world and just try this for a bit and try and reach out as a community. Because there's one thing to go ahead and meditate and say, okay, I've never done this before, but I'm going to think UFOs, please come. But sometimes it's worth to bring the big guns, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but like I said, I'm not defending his statement at all. I'm just kind of giving you a little more feel because I watched probably about 45 minutes of that before the show started tonight, before our show started tonight. And it just caught my attention how serious he is, serious about this event occurring before the 20th of January. And he pointed out it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be the first 20 days or 19 days in January. But that's where he is. And he also pointed out that all these people are risking their lives. So if we start seeing whistleblowers being blown away, I guess some indication that there may have been some truth in that.
Yeah, but it's interesting. You know, Greer talks about it being on the inside with people in the House and Senate and bringing whistleblowers forward, but you never hear anyone in the House and Senate ever mentioning a whisper about Mr. Greer. So I think we're dealing with, unfortunately, a little bit more talk than action. But I guess he does have a good, he is trying to make a good intention on this.
Just wanted to fill you in on that, Thomas.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, turning our sights back to what's going on, in one more video here of this one is coming to us from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Great footage of a UAP drones, and they definitely look like small planes. Could it be because they are small planes? Let me go ahead and get this dog hair out of the laser mouse, bring it around a little bit. Let's go ahead and bring this one up here. All right, let's go ahead and play it. Okay. There we go. Well, well, well. If it looks like a plane, sounds like a plane, and behaves like a plane, I would have to say what we're dealing with here is probably a plane heading towards the south, heading towards O'Hare International Airport. So while we'd love it to be something more than this, I think we're dealing with something, again, prosaic. You can see we've got the wings of the craft swept back. We've got the tail that's got a light on the top. We've got the lights in the front. So a bunch of people wanting this to be something a bit more than what's going on. But you know what? Sometimes we just have to keep our eyes to the sky. It's great that people are still looking these days. That's a good thing about it. It's about, it's not about don't look up. It's about go outside and look up. All right, let me get back to the guests, see what we've got going now. Oh, I know what I'm going to bring up next. I had it up here somewhere. All right. So coming to us next is a video of a UAP over Mount Etna in Sicily. The interesting thing about this is coming to us from the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, also known as ARROW. At the time they went and said no, the UFO that was recorded over Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, oh, that's just a balloon. It's not really a UFO. It never was transmedium. It never went underwater. We've got another debunked video that's coming to us from Mount Etna. Now, let me see if I can bring this one up, and we're going to go take a look at this video. Hey, Tom Whitmore, good to see you, my friend. Actually caught my eyes when I wasn't looking. All right, let's get into this. Coming to us from Mount Etna. On December 8th, December 2018, a FLIR, or a forward-looking infrared video, sensor aboard an uncrewed U.S. Air Force platform, probably a Reaper drone, captured this footage while operating over the Mediterranean Sea. This footage depicts an object that appears to be transiting a plume of superheated gas and ash produced by an eruption of Mount Etna, which it does. A volcano in Sicily, Italy. ARROW coordinated an interagency and international analytical effort to determine that the optical effects in this intense atmospheric conditions near the volcano distorted the video, causing the object to appear to transit the plume on many cases, I should say. ARROW assesses with moderate confidence, not complete confidence, that they are covering it up, that the footage instead depicts a balloon approximately 170 kilometers from the caldera, traveling at wind speed and direction. Here's the thing. We're going to go play this. It goes into the clouds. It comes out of the clouds. That's transiting the plume multiple times. And guess what? As it's flying, you could probably answer this. Mr. Ed Brown, got a question for you on this one. If a balloon was flying in the clouds and flying in the air at a specific level, would the air currents be moving at the same speed as the clouds?
Depends on what propulsion system's on the balloon. It could be either working with or against the wind.
Right. If it's just a flat-out balloon, nothing special, just filled.
Yeah, then it's going to be going at the same speed as the wind. The wind is going to carry it.
Bingo. So, especially if you see it disappear, go into the clouds and come out of the clouds, that would give you the indication, right, that what we're looking at is definitely should be moving around the same speed of the clouds, what this object never does, correct?
Well, now remember, the speed of the wind varies from altitude, with altitude too. And in fact, the people that do hobby balloonists know that. They go up. If they want to catch a wind that's going a different direction than they're going, they can change direction.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes. I'm just talking a balloon that's actually launched out into the air for that matter. So let me go ahead and bring up this video. Let's have a fun time with it. Let me bring this up. There we go. Let me zoom it in one time. All right, there we go. It's full screen right now. Oh, great. And QuickTime has decided it doesn't want to run again. Okay, give me a second. I will get this video. Why is this being such a pain in the butt? Oh, I will find a DOD MP4, open with, let's go to, I need to go to the newer version of OBS and just bite it. Here we go. I'm going to open with VLC instead. Don't necessarily have the same controls that I have in OBS, but you know what? It's better than nothing. Let's see if I can zoom this in. Nope, I cannot zoom it in. Try view. All right, we'll have to deal with it the way it is. I cannot zoom in on this, but at least we can go ahead and play it. Let me go ahead and... All right, it doesn't want to play here either. I've got an idea. Why is it doing this to me? It was playing just fine earlier today. Let me open with QuickTime Player. Let me go File. Let me try and play it here. Nope. Let me go File, Export as 720p. Now I went and exported that. All right. You get to see me go ahead and control this manually. I think we should be able to see it now just with me going ahead and controlling this manually. So we've got a volcano here. Volcano is erupting in the distance. Let me just go back to the original because I think it went smaller on this. I don't like having to re-encode it. One more time. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. I should be able to bring it. Let's zoom it up a little bit. Let's see if it goes. There we go. So, all right, we got Mount Etna going and blowing its top off in the distance. Here's a quick question. Rick, why would the Department of Defense wanting to be watching Mount Etna in Sicily as it erupts?
That's a good question. I was gonna the first time you mentioned this, I thought to myself, why would the Department of Defense be watching this unless there's some anomaly or peculiarities that are occurring in this area that the Defense Department wants to keep track of?
Right.
And
For
maybe
me,
this is why.
You know, you can see what we're going right now. Let's say black is hot and white is cool, because you've got the big chunks of the lava coming out of the volcano, jumping around. They're zooming in, watching what's going on. Now, if I get a little bit further into this, here we go. They've jumped out. Let me go ahead and show this. Right up here on the upper right part of the screen, we're going to see an object coming. Oh, come on, you little son of a gun. There we go. We got a little object coming in right here. One of those little black dots that looks exactly like the footage that I have of the UAP in Malta. That little black dot that comes out of the background, goes around. And this one just looks like it's having a good time cruising along around where Mount Etna is. As soon as the Air Force sees this, they immediately zoom in on it and start tracking this little thing as it's moving around the volcano. At different points, they'll zoom in farther, they'll zoom in closer. One of the things, let me zoom out a little bit here and just keep this, oh shit, too far, way too far, too fast. Get into here, let's get into here where it's flying along on this. There it goes. Let me get this out of the way. There we go, now it's playing. Now we got it now. So now we've got the actual object itself. They're going ahead and trying to record it. And now they're going to get the drone to get it where they're zooming out, and they're continually following along with where this object is. Let me go ahead and did it stop playing again, or are they dicking around and trying to find it? Let me move this over here. Here they go. I believe they're trying to follow this at this point. There we go. So we've got the object flying here. It's flying down in front of the other stuff that's there. It's just hard to go ahead and try and track the object. But it's moving at a constant rate. And as you can see right here, if I zoom in on it, look at the object as it goes back a little bit more, this little dot. You notice how all of a sudden the object turns white, and it's now hidden from the eye as it is transiting the clouds. So if this object wasn't transiting the clouds, Rick, it wouldn't disappear into the clouds now, would it?
No. Definitely not.
So this is the kind of stuff, the bullshit that we're seeing coming from ARO, trying to go ahead and call everything a balloon when they can, saying, oh, no, this wasn't going in the clouds. Now, if this was going through these clouds and it was flying around here, and it was a balloon, that object should be moving at the same speed as the clouds, right?
I would think so, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So let me zoom out a little bit more on this as they go along. They keep on trying to find it. Let me bring this along.
It definitely looks like it's moving separate and independent of the wind or anything else. It looks like it's under some type of propulsion.
Yeah, exactly. And then they've got it here again coming along. And what's interesting is, depending on what's going on, we're starting to see it to where the object itself, we're starting to get this. Oh, where is it at? Zoom in a little bit more. This white refraction going on one side, where one side of the object is cold and the other side of the object is hot. And we'll see that as it moves along. Sometimes it's actually surrounding the object being cold, and the object itself is then going ahead and reflecting as dark. So remember, dark is hot, white is cold, for that matter. So this overall video goes on. Oh, let's see if we can get a little bit more. There are some different spots. Now you can see the orientation on the object has changed to where down over here by Fathead, you can see we got the black on the top, the lighter on the bottom. So it is moving and it is transiting. Here's another instance. Let me go ahead and, oh shit. There we go, right there. Let me move this up higher so people can see it. Let me zoom in a couple times. Let's get into it. We've got it now. This is another set of clouds. Let's watch the object as it actually goes ahead and moves into the clouds a little bit. Let me click back on this window again. And you're going to see, there we go again. The object that is a balloon that's not moving through the clouds repeatedly keeps on moving through. It's right here at this point. You can see it's a little white light kind of going at that point in time. You zoom it a little bit more off to the side so you can see it. And it goes again. So interesting thing about this video that we're looking at here. And here we've got the craft going at the top. I think we have to get a little bit further on. They've actually got some areas where they zoomed in on the object fairly well. Another instance where the actual object, is it transiting the clouds again in that area I saw a second ago? Yeah. So everyone wants to go ahead. Yes, I know it's a little dot we're watching flying around on the screen, but when our government does such a good job on covering this stuff up, and when they see things like this and they're going and actually trying to find reasons to go ahead and debunk what this is, clearly this object is moving much faster than what we've got going on the sun. And here at this point here, you can see that the object, this is about the highest level of zoom that we've got on the object so far. And if anything, you know what we're seeing here, Rick, on this? We're seeing that actual black object with that usual white layer of interference going around it that we've seen on so many UFO videos throughout the years. Your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this has some sort of a propulsion system on it. It's not moving by the wind as a balloon would.
Right.
I agree with Ed that there's a propulsion system, and that the coolness could be some sort of a maybe a cooling type of propulsion system that we don't have, but they have.
Right. Or this could be potentially something that's because it could be something that could be something that's moving out of our time-space continuum. So we're seeing something that's, got that traditional warp bubble around it. Now, there's an interesting one where we're seeing it here moving along, and then actually it's going backwards. It's actually rotating and traveling up. Let me go this way. It's actually rotating and then traveling down. Again, they're going ahead and trying to go ahead and track this thing as it's going through the air. You know, I look at this video, and it is because it's again, I'll say it again, because it's been recorded in Sicily, Mount Etna. That's not that far from the UFO video that we have in Malta. Has similar dynamics, similar look and feel. I'm going to say these things are kind of, if you want to call it, connected. So again, RO going through the cover-up. It's a video that came out to us in November. Unfortunately, I haven't looked at it until just yesterday when I saw someone on Twitter going ahead and trying to cover it. But it's one of those things you want to take a look at and say, okay, we've got things going on here. Clearly not just a balloon. Clearly part of the cover-up coming from our federal government. And hopefully when we get a change coming in the next couple of weeks or a month or so, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, give or take, there's going to be a change, and hopefully some of these kind of things will come into clarity as time moves on. Yeah, I love covering these types of things because it's a great video to go ahead and try and understand what's going on, and to go ahead and bring out the truth of all of the sightings that are there. And when we get something from our federal government, sometimes we just have to look at it and the answer they're giving us and say, nope, we don't believe it. Because actually, have you heard, Rick, that the faith in the public believing the government in the United States has fallen to a new low? 17% of the people trust the government at this point in time. Are you surprised?
No, not a bit. Not a bit. I'm surprised it's that high.
Exactly. I saw your hand up.
Everybody I talked to, yeah.
Yeah. Brian, I saw you giving a thumbs up. Your thoughts on that statement?
No, exactly right. And hopefully the new administration or any of the new members coming in can reinstill some of that trust, because it is sorely lacking. And if we don't have trust in our leaders, then bad things can happen. And I know it's been on the plummet for quite some time. I mean, in my opinion, I think congressional approval, I want to say, is right around 11%, which, I mean, that's supposed to be the most direct representation of the people at the federal level. And if that's that low, that's not a good sign. So hopefully we could right the ship here.
Yeah, I would definitely hope so. Ed Brown, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if that's Arrow's response, that's a balloon, that causes more distrust of the government. But we can sit here tonight, the three or four of us talking about this, can sit here and clearly see that that's not a balloon. So if they're publishing that as a report, it kind of goes back to the way Kirkpatrick was saying, we have no evidence whatsoever. Oh. Well, we got tons of evidence. He's just not looking at it.
Oh, good old Sean Kirkpatrick. Gotta love that man. He did so much for disclosure. Not really. He did so much to cover up the truth, for that matter. All right.
Well, it appears as if Arrow is just a continuation of all the others, all the way back to the Robertson Report and the Condon Report and the Blue Book. Mm-hmm. It's the government's attempt to tell us nothing's worth looking at.
Yeah. Absolutely, Ed. I appreciate that insight, because this does take a community effort, and it's great to have so many people in the back who have experience in the past for bringing this forward. Thank you for your opinion on that. Now, I do have another video here to bring up. This is just a short one coming from Judicial Watch, and there's a new episode of a NJ drone update with Mayor Matthew Morello. What we've got here is just a little 42-second clip of this, where he's talking about anomalous drones continue to be seen across New Jersey, and the federal government refuses to share information with the public. Oh, in other words, it's a cover-up, like we've been saying. Let's see where this goes. Here we go, everybody. This is just a short one.
Police helicopter.
There we go.
They had the state police helicopter up, and they were above this drone, about 6 foot in diameter. And the minute the drone realized they were in airspace of a police helicopter, it went dark. The lights went off, and it took off. To further make us more concerned, we were told by the state police that they emitted no radio frequencies and had no beacon, no teleprompt on it. So how they're flying these things is a complete mystery. Now, we are the most technologically advanced nation in the world. We have the greatest military on planet Earth, and we can't track them. We don't know what they are. They had the state.
Yep, I think that's what we've been saying here, Mike, for a while, isn't it? It's a joke. They keep on saying they don't know where these things are. They can't track it. They can't figure it out. Not believable coming from our federal government, is it, Mike? Oh, we lost Mike. I think he's off chasing the puppies. Yes, Mike had 5 cats. Now he's got 5 cats and 2 dogs. It'll be 3 cats and 2 dogs. Interesting enough. Let's go ahead and move back to our studio and figure out what I've got going on here next. All right, I'm just going through my bookmarks to see what I've gone and cat. Well. I've got to bring this one up because we are talking about ufology stuff coming from a less than reputable account over on Twitter. What am I talking about? Yes, police take a photograph of an alien being in Argentina. The Corrientes police in Argentina photographed a supposed extraterrestrial being. The Argentina media have published this news. The event occurred in a locality called Parque Mitter, or Mitre for that matter. If they take a look at it, would you look at that? That looks like an ominous alien walking around in the forest. However, this is why you have to take everything on Reddit with a grain of salt. Readers added context. This is just a still image of the Spanish horror movie, OVNI. Do you find this helpful? Yes. So not all the times will you go ahead and get the if you want to call it, readers adding context to this. There is a unbelievable uptake since the drone started of engagement farmers on Twitter. They're taking old videos, old news, old information, whether it's 2 weeks old, 6 months old, or 10 years old. They're recycling it, putting it on Twitter, putting the hashtag breaking or whatever it was to let you know there's something big going on. But in reality, all they're trying to do is to get you to click to show their post so they can earn money off of it. So I'm not sure what happened, why everyone has decided. Maybe they figured out how to go ahead and make money off of Twitter. But I mean, we're seeing it where they're taking footage of content where it's called out as AI generated on like Instagram or TikTok, and then bringing that on Twitter, going ahead and cutting out the parts where it says it's what do you call it? That it's actually generated by AI, or they're taking and putting really deceptive titles on this stuff to get people to get interested in it. You know, this is just a flat out old school. Really, it's a disinformation campaign. More than that, it's just people who are trying to get you to click for dollars. Brian Pemble, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, they're modern day snake oil salesmen. And I really got to hand it to Twitter that they have these community notes so that people that are a lot smarter than me can, like yourself, Thomas, can figure this stuff out. And so that's actually, in my opinion, really helping to weed out these snake oil salesmen.
Yeah.
I just want to make one correction. I posted a link in the back. The congressional approval is not 11%; it's 17%. So
okay, so it was 17% then. Yeah.
Yep. So I posted a link, but I want to make that correction for you.
Exactly. Now, Brian, since you're Mr. Politics coming through Brian's eyes, at least on Disclosure tonight, we have a tweet or a message on X coming from good old UFO Jesus. You know who UFO Jesus is. You've heard of him before, haven't you, Brian? He's
I have heard the name.
Oh, he's someone who gets out there. He likes to have the long hair, at least a beard, and play the part sometimes, and bringing out disclosure to everybody. And an interesting fellow, to say the least. Now, he's running into an issue we're kind of running into here on Disclosure tonight. I digress. Here's what he says. I literally can't win. Let me make this clear. If Biden contributes to UFO transparency, I will support him on that. But that doesn't necessarily mean I support him on everything else. Period. We've been talking about where we encourage Biden to go ahead and bring out the truth on disclosure. We've been saying that for months here now, right, Brian?
Yeah, longer than that. I want to say about 2 years at least that we really hit this hard. I mean, and every time we talk about the disclosure, what it always boils down to is that it has to come from the executive branch, and that we don't care if it's Biden or it's Trump or who it is.
Yeah.
But it's got to come from the executive. Yep.
But guaranteed, Brian, anytime we bring anything up about either side of the party, after the live stream is over, we've lost 20 subs.
Yeah.
It gets a little discouraging, but
you're always going to lose people when you talk politics.
But disclosure is inherently politics, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it is, and I know people hate when I come on and talk about it too. But it is important. It's got to come from the executive. Or they need to rewrite the Atomic Energy Act. So one of those two has to happen.
Exactly.
If we're going to get anything from the United States government. Now, that's not to say that it couldn't come from a citizen journalist, which I think is huge, or other governments.
Like Ross Coulthart going ahead and spilling the beans about where that giant craft is buried.
Wait, did he spill it?
No, he didn't. That would be an example if he were to spill it. That's someone who could actually move forward disclosure.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ross.
Yeah.
And I applaud Ross with what he does. But yeah, he could basically put his head on the pike and bring that information out.
All right. Quick question. Martin H. says, why didn't Trump disclose it in his first term? Well, let's go there again. Trump started the UAPTF. It was the only time we actually got a decent UFO report coming out of the federal government. Secondly, he started the Space Force. Thirdly, if you remember, I've played it last time. I get a strike every time I play it because there's some schmuck out there that has the interview with John Ratcliffe. He was the former director of national intelligence, talking right before he went out of office, saying, yes, late in the Trump administration, this stuff came to us. We tried to work to get it disclosed and through the channels before January 20th hit. They ran out of time. So it'll be happening this time because John Ratcliffe is now going to be the head of the CIA. And supposedly, from what I remember, the CIA actually goes ahead and does the most, if you want to call it, cover-up of disclosures, been involved in many different scenarios, including preventing from getting the crash materials from Lockheed Martin, I believe, transferred to Bigelow Aerospace back in the day.
Yeah, and just real quick on that, I think one of our key indicators early on in the new administration is if they release the JFK files, because that's something that was also
and that's
promised.
Coming too. And he didn't release at that time because he was guided by Mike Pompeo not to bring it out. I think didn't Mike Pompeo used to be the head of the CIA at one time?
Yes, I do believe so. But I'd be curious to get. I know that Ed's got his name too. Be curious to get a Rick's take on John Ratcliffe. But just to reiterate once again, I think if we see the JFK files fully released, then I think we're going to get something on disclosure. I think that's going to be kind of our lighthouse, if you will.
Because there's a good chance there's a bunch of UFO information in the papers that have been kept out of the public at this point. But either way, putting that aside, let me get back to this tweet, and I'll get to whoever had their hand up. Maybe not. Likewise, if Trump contributes to UFO transparency, I'll support him on that too. But that doesn't necessarily mean I support him on everything else. Meaning we have to stay in the middle on a lot of this stuff. And here's what he says. I intend to stay as apolitical as I can, no matter how hard I try. People on both sides of the aisles accuse me of being political. Here's the thing, right? The only way we're going to get through this on one way or the other is either coming from the executive branch, more likely, or potentially the legislative branch, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate. What does he go on to say? All I can say to this is grow up. I'm honestly sick of it. And nothing I say or do will change the fact that Trump is coming into office. This applies to Trump fans and those who dislike him. And trust me, I read enough of those negative comments on Twitter all the time, and I tend to keep my nose out of it. Now, UFO Jesus goes on to say, I did my civil duty for voting for my preferred candidate, but what I do now, but beyond that, what I do now won't change anything. Please internalize that. Here's the next one. If I lose followers over this tweet or even over this podcast, let it be known I'm not walking on eggshells while I strive to remain apolitical. It's ridiculous that people give me a hard time when I strive to keep things neutral. I'm doing the best I can. I think he sums it up really good, doesn't it, Brian? If people are on one side of the fence, you mention on one side, they freak out and say, how can you say that about Trump? He didn't do anything before. Or if you say something about Biden, it comes back in the other direction. Mike.
Yes, made these exact points repeatedly on the show over and over again. I agree with his sentiment about being apolitical. That's definitely been our approach.
Yeah.
We cover the news, the topics, and even politics in Washington from both sides of the aisle, being bipartisan, which is what this is all about, and apolitical.
Yeah.
So he's preaching to the choir, isn't he?
And Mike, this is actually why, for that matter, I try to go ahead and cover the parts of Trump and disclosure, because he is going to be our new president coming into it. He does have the power to get it there. There are a lot of people out there who, in his inner circle, like his son, like the new head of the CIA, and many others who are Elon Musk, Vivek Ramsey, we know that for a fact. Also RFK Jr. They're all people said that they want to bring forward disclosure. The cover-ups, they're tired of the cover-up. So hopefully
they want to remove the deep state. They want to bring out disclosure. They want to declassify things. I haven't heard any other candidate making those promises. And this is going to be our incoming administration, like it or not. Think whatever you want.
Right.
But the reality is they're going to be in power, and hopefully we're going to get what we've been looking for the entire time. So that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Ed Brown,
but
you
we
have
have people push back. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Mike Pompeo was the guy that said that we had more important things to do. That things got really busy toward the end.
No, that wasn't Pompeo. That was John Ratcliffe.
Well, I think Mike Pompeo said something similar to that.
Not about UFOs though, but Ratcliffe did. He was. This was an interview with
the other thing was
Maria Bartiromo.
COVID kind of got in their way toward the end there, and then of course they get into the elections. It just got real busy toward the end.
Yeah, there were a lot of things happening. They wanted to bring out the truth, but when it comes down to it, sometimes, other things happen that we can't bring the truth out for. So hopefully this time it's going to be a little bit quieter, but it sounds like there's trouble brewing in paradise right now in the federal government. Let's see what else I've got here. Now, someone who has been a staunch critic of Trump and someone who you guys may like from the other side of the fence, Joe Murgia, also known as the UFO Joe. Someone was going out and saying, hey, this is talking about who could possibly run the new UAP office. I know my votes go for Lou Elizondo. Here we've got someone going ahead and pushing for Colonel Carl Nell. And then, of course, Joe comes back and says, no, not Colonel Nell. Let's go ahead and bring out Jay Stratton. Now, I know Carl Nell has said a lot of things for disclosure, but I don't think that, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the back, feel free to join me on this one. I don't think we've heard a lot from Jay Stratton with regards to disclosure, like we've heard stuff coming from Colonel Nell or Lou Elizondo. Who in the back wants to take this?
Do you get a sneaky feeling, Thomas, that sometimes, you know what, perhaps I should keep my mouth shut on this one, but about that Jay Stratton may shut things down on the backside, that he may be a different type of a player in this whole scheme?
Jay Stratton?
Yeah. But I guess where I'm going is I'd rather have Carl Nell. I'd rather have Lou Elizondo.
Yeah.
We just haven't gotten a ton from, we've gotten some from Stratton, but I think he knows a whole lot more.
Carl Nell is a great guy, very, very knowledgeable. He's good at answering questions. He's good at following a script, but getting out there, going ahead and leading a conversation and other stuff based on what I've heard, based on his interactions behind the scene, potentially with some people in the halls of government. He's a bit stalled in that area. So if we really want someone who's a good public speaker, someone who knows how to address the public easily, someone who can engage in conversations and not just shut down, honestly, for my particular aspect, I think Lou Elizondo is probably the best bet for that. Granted, I'm a bit jaded on it, but I'm just looking at their ability to communicate, Brian.
I would agree with you 100%. Just in my short one-on-one with Lou Elizondo face-to-face, he's very personable, extremely intelligent, very engaging. and he's just a nice, honest broker. Now, I'd be curious to get Rick's opinion on this before I get myself in the hot water here.
Well, let me say this, that whoever is chosen, if it's Lou or Jay or whoever, Colonel Nell, they're going to have the same restrictions on them regarding classified materials under a special access program as everyone else would.
But wait a minute,
So,
if this is an office that's part of the executive branch and is doing the voting for the President of the United States, I think they're going to have a little bit better access to information, because now we have something coming, not for an inquiry with someone beyond top secret or whatever it is. We've got an inquiry coming from the President of the United States. I think that could kind of toss things up a bit, couldn't it?
Well, I think maybe he might have a more open door as far as the information.
Yeah.
But he's still going to be restricted by the law of the nation, and that's
And
law
don't
under
forget,
Title
the
50.
president has the ability to declassify anything unless it's something locked
Yes, he
up with the
does.
Department of Energy. And if it's locked up with the Department of
Absolutely.
Energy, if they want to get it out, you need to have the director of national intelligence, or the head of the CIA. You need to have the president and the head of the Department of Energy. And if these are all Trump appointees, the president could easily take out writing an executive order, going ahead and declassifying a whole swath of documents that could easily be brought forward by Lou Elizondo as he sees fit. They don't have to go ahead and bring all the information out right away. They could drip it out, per se, in a more of a controlled manner. But as Trump had said, I can declassify anything by thought.
Yeah, he can declassify. Yeah, absolutely. He's the one person that can declassify everything, with exception of the Atomic Energy Act, and that would have to be done on a committee under the Department of Energy and the National Nuclear Security Administration. So, but all they do is recommend, but the final say would be the President of the United States. But I wouldn't hold my breath. I'm just saying this. I hate to be negative about it, but I wouldn't hold my breath that just because Lou or Carl Nell or Jay Stratton is in there, that we're going to see everything that the government has.
Well,
that's not going to happen.
It's potentially good to have someone in there to know where the bodies are buried. And you can go ahead
true. And he might direct them to where the bodies are, but maybe the bodies are over there, but not say where there is, or something to that effect.
Exactly. They're not going to tell us that, but they can tell us about the bodies and the other stuff, and they'll come back to it, and they'll just go ahead. Okay, hey, the Don, we need you to get more stuff declassified for the UFO files, and here's your signature. Make it happen. Let's ditch the deep state. Ed Brown, you have your hand up.
We've covered a lot of material here in the last minute and a half or so. I just want to kind of sum up with some thoughts.
Yeah, please
Another
do.
name, I agree with you on Lou. I think he's the best choice of the names we've heard. Another name I've heard is Travis Taylor as a possible option for that. And Travis used to work for Jay Stratton. So, yeah. And Jay was on Skinwalker Ranch on a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Came across as the guy who was supporting disclosure.
Yeah.
And wanting to find out the truth. So I think if it was Jay selected, that he would also be a good one to be pushing that. Moving forward to the clearance issue, you hit the nail on the head. Trump cannot arbitrarily waive a Q clearance requirement. So it would definitely have to go through the DOE channels in order to do that.
And that would only be for stuff that's been classified under the Atomic Energy Act.
But the weird thing is they've managed to find just about any way to stick it under a Q clearance.
Yeah.
I think your watch that lights up at night maybe fitting into that category because it emits just a little bit of radiation. But I think the thing, we're talking about all these different variables. I think the thing that really makes the difference is what Trump wants to do. And the conversation he and Don Jr. had was very telling. When Don Jr. said, "Are we ever going to release this information?" And he said, "Well, Roswell is really interesting. They got a lot of interesting things there." And you kind of sitting there and your ears are perking as to what he's going to say next. I think he was on the verge of saying, when I'm in charge, we may hear a lot more about Roswell.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, it looks like we're getting a vote for you, Rick, to bring Rick out of retirement. But didn't you say if something goes right, you may come out of retirement?
Well, there had been rumors to that effect, but I don't know yet. I haven't been offered anything, but there has been people talking to me about it. And you know, if they offer me something that I just can't turn down, I probably would. But I don't foresee that right now. I like what I'm doing now. I'm more open. I can talk freely. I hate to be back in those days where I can't discuss anything or can't appear on any of these programs. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have a good job at Gaia. I have a good job with the UANM on the Doty Chronicles, and I want to keep that. And but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to say never, but I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. And back on Lewin holding this office, it was actually brought up by Lou back in the day that he had, there was an opportunity for him to potentially go back into the DOD and head up Arl's office, but he was concerned if he did that, they'd basically be bringing him in and muzzling him up again. And that's the one thing he wouldn't like. So if he has the opportunity to go ahead and run a UAP office out of the White House to go ahead and help Disclosure to move forward, I think it's a completely different ballgame. Now, jumping into something fun, one of the last things we're going to cover here tonight. This is something that's really interesting. When you're going to hear this, you're only going to hear the word you're reading. So let me play this. This is a little mind trick, something that's been used in toys in the past. Listen to what's going on, and you'll see the finger go up. You'll hear the word, and then you'll hear the finger go up, and you'll hear it again. Let me just go ahead and share this with everybody. This one is really freaking cool. Listen closely on this one. Here we go. So, it's the same word being played, and one time you're hearing it, you read the word green needle, and you hear green needle. You read along the text brainstorm, and you hear brainstorm. It's one of those tricks where this is where our consciousness gets in the way. You're reading one thing, and your brain puts it together to hear it one way. Let me go ahead and do this again. Now, read the one on the left. Green needle, really clear. Let's go ahead and do it again. Now, read it as brainstorm. Yeah, I'm seeing Rick saying, what the hell's going on here? Have you ever seen anything like that before?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. You know, you're running a bunch of different things on Twitter throughout the day where their audience is saying, yeah, this has been around for a long time. But some people are only hearing brainstorm. Some people I'm hearing one or the other. That's why I wanted to go ahead and bring this up, because it's one of those things you bring up, you're looking at, and it's just like, wow, what the hell am I actually dealing with here? Let me get back to my guest. Let me see if there's anything else we haven't missed here yet today. No, I think that's about it. That's to the bottom of my list. Is there anything that we haven't brought up today, Rick, that you'd like to bring up?
No, I think we've done it. We've hit everything. I was hoping you would bring up the Lou's possible nomination for RO or a position within that agency. So yeah, I think you've done everything that I wanted.
Now, if Lou gets brought in, it's not going to be for the head of RO. We're not talking about anything for the head of RO. We're talking about an office in the White House charged with bringing out the truth on disclosure. That's the fun part about it. This just gets away a lot of the bullshit of what's been going on in the cover-up coming from the DOD. All right. On that note, where is that at? I want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming out to tonight's disclosure tonight. More importantly, I want to thank our friends who have given us super chats tonight. Who am I talking about? Let's go ahead and thank Brian Pemble, Shelly Montgomery, Fat Frank, Freezerman71, Laura Campbell. Here today. We missed you today, Laura. Love you, girl. J Cat, Rick Doty, and of course, J Cat. I also want to go ahead and thank everybody who's been in the chat today. What a great audience. What a great way to go ahead and hang out with friends. Who do we have out there? Let's thank AK for coming out. Alex Lewis, Anon YouTube account. Let's thank Asher Through, Anton Goes, BW Broom, Bear Holiday, Blitz Necro's been here along with Brett Tomahawks. Also, don't forget, if you're having a good time, you haven't given us a thumbs up or a thumbs down yet, please take this time to do it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what the heck you waiting for? You've watched the majority of the show. Please give us a subscribe. We'd love to have you here as a regular. Now back to the people again. I want to thank BW Broom, Bear Holiday, Blitz Necro. Let's thank Brett Tomo Hanks, Brian Pemble, Cindy, Clear Glass Studios, Count's been here along with Country Carpenter, Craig Smith, Daz been around along with Daryl, Dave Sims, Diva Kim's been here along with Eli McGinnis, Evan B's here along with Phantom, Faceless has been around along with Mr. Greyhawk. We have GP, Greyheart Discoveries, Irage has been here, Jan, J-Cat, John McLean, Johnny UFO. I was in the back, and sorry if I didn't call on you earlier, my friend. Let's also go ahead and thank Josh Rocky, Kathy, Kelly Brote, and those piercing blue eyes. Kenneth Warwick's been here along with Latro. Lon's been around along with Louis V. Miami, Margaret Leach. We've had Magellan Betts. Let me get back to the desk. I think it's clean enough. All right, who else we had there? Magellan Betts. Close that one down. Magellan Betts. Where am I at? Close enough. Mick's been here along with Moon Pie. Let's thank Mr. Catfish 2100 Europe, My Remote Dream, Nancy Kuzmano. We also had Necessary Dialogue and Peggy with the South Florida Friends. That includes Steve, Crockett, and Tubbs. Thanks for coming out. Polly Doom's been here along with Raoul, Rainstorm Hunter. Ray Gee's been around along with Right Meow. Rough Reddy has been through here for the whole broadcast. Sam's been around along with Shelly Montgomery. We've had Sprightly Sprites, Gemstone, Crystal, Mineral Magic in the chat along with Starburst, Super Unknown, Tamisha Bertrand, Terrence Bruce, Tats, the Chromosome Cowboy. We've had Toxic Revenger, True 4, Two Head 666, Warren and Carissa Rowe, Yankee 58, and F5 Twister. More importantly, I also want to go ahead and thank our friends in the back that have been with us all day. Thanks for coming out today, Corporal Labor. I appreciate you being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry about the audio issues and connection.
Absolutely. Turn that way down. Thank you, Corporal. Appreciate you being here. Alice W., thanks for coming out. Thanks for your questions today.
Thank you, Thomas. Had a great time.
Thank you, Brian Pemble. Appreciate you being here, my friend.
Anytime. Great show.
Thank you, sir. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow for a New Year's Eve wonderful broadcast like we do every single year. Also want to thank, let's say, Ed Brown. Thanks for coming out tonight, Ed.
Been a good show, Thomas. Really enjoyed being on tonight. Look forward to tomorrow's New Year's Eve show.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it as well. I think we'll be raining in maybe 2 or probably 3 time zones of holidays, so it'll be a longer extended show.
Hope your neck gets feeling better before the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. Let's just hope it settles down. You never know where it's going to go. Also want to thank Michael Sokoloff. Thanks for your question tonight.
You're welcome anytime, Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely. Tia Maria, happy birthday, my dear lady.
Why, thank you, Thomas.
Absolutely. Rick Doty, appreciate you coming out, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a great show, and happy birthday, Tia. I didn't know it was your birthday, but
thank you, Rick.
You really only really look about 25 or 26. So,
oh, why, thank you.
Can't be more than that.
So much.
Absolutely. And Mike, Disclosure, you around, my friend, or are you chasing the dogs?
No. I'm home. I'm here. My trip is finally over. So I finally made it. And Tia, yes, happy birthday, my dear.
Thank you,
Another
Mike.
year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful to be 28 again for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Always.
All right. Any wise words tonight, Mike, before we sign off?
No, I think you made a good point that tomorrow is our end of the year show, and we're going to cover all the points that we did for the past year, which should be interesting as we wrap up the past year and welcome in the new year. It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, we'll have
and a
some
show.
trivia. We get people to guess how many total shows have we had in 2024? How many shows have we had in the UK in 2024? What has been the total broadcast time in hours, minutes, and seconds that we've had, Mike? Plus, then I've gone and taken all the different title cards throughout the year to give us the top term from our top terms from our titles for shows throughout the year, aside from UFO news and Thomas Fessler's Disclosure Tonight. There's a bunch of interesting words in there we'll have fun with.
There is.
And a lot of stories to talk about, too, because I have all the show titles to go through.
Oh, we could recap. Yeah, it'll be fun for the audience and good conversation for us.
A look back and
time.
also a look forward, my friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Most importantly, we get to bring up all the shit that didn't happen.
Cover the nothing burger part of the...
Oh,
that's right.
exactly. The nothing burgers of 2024 disclosure. Yeah, like I didn't know one of the top ones on that list. Whatever happened to Grush's op-ed.
Right, exactly. That's a good point.
So, audience,
So
you've got some homework for you. Start writing down your top things, and we'll merge it with mine. We'll have a bunch of great stuff to talk about.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody. Yet? What? Everybody, but...
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. As I blow out your eardrums. See y'all tomorrow. Take care, everybody. I'll come back now here. Bye-bye.